today. They're not bringing people in, they're sending them away. They traded Everson Griffin to the Lions for a conditional draft pick. Meanwhile, on the radio yesterday, Jerry Jones getting testy when asked if he thought his team has a void of leadership.
But seriously, where would you have a leadership void? Is it an experience void? Is it a talent void? Is it a leadership void? I'm not trying to be cute here. The answer is no. The answer is no.
I'm asking.
There's not a. Well, just shut up and let me answer. No. When I go into the locker room, there's no leadership void in my eyes.
So everything is going against them, including the schedule. According to our analytics, the Cowboys are expected to lose all of their remaining games. Assuming that happened and they went 2-14, it would be their worst record since they were 1-15 in 1989. That was their first year with Jimmy Johnson. We all know he turned that into a great team ultimately. My football crew is ready to go here. RC and Nika with us this morning, and Dan Graziano is here. Dan, let me quickly start with you. They make the trade yesterday. They don't bring people in, they send them away. Is that should we expect to see more of that between now and the deadline on Tuesday?
Yeah, but on that level, right? Guys that they have brought in recently don't necessarily fit on defense. A guy like Dontari Poe on the defensive line could be a candidate to be traded or even cut. So look for moves like that. I don't get the sense they're selling off major pieces. They really wouldn't be able to with the contracts some of their big guys have anyway. But, yeah, I think they're going to shake things up on defense because, quite honestly, they're getting up 35 points a game. Who can you not live without on a defense like that?
That's fair. And so the big blow-up of this team might come after the season. We don't expect it to be this week. Meanwhile, Ryan Clark, when you listen to Jerry Jones' comments on the radio yesterday, what thoughts go through your mind?
How bad do the Dallas Cowboys have to be for someone this rich, this powerful to be upset? I think this is the most upset the underlings have gotten the boss man since Billy Ray Valentine and Louis Winthrop went at Randolph and Mortimer Duke. Like, this is big. This is serious. This is big. This is a guy, Jerry Jones, who felt like he built this team to contend. This team is built with people that he has handpicked. He's giving out $100 million contract, $90 million contracts to all of these people. And he's expecting to win. He's expecting to have leaders. And this thing has gone downhill, and it's gone downhill fast. And he sees no way of coming out of it. So when you walk into a locker room of your making, and you say, I don't see a leader by skill, I don't see a leader by experience, you know what you're saying? I messed it up. This is on me. You guys aren't good enough. And when you have to have that realization, that's why you act the way you do with people who are asking very valid questions. Jerry Jones made this bed. Now it's time to sleep in it.
Absolutely. That was Trading Places, by the way. I finally got a reference on a Wednesday on the show. Meanwhile, let me come to you. What is the Dak in all of this? How does the Dak Prescott sort of figure into all of this?
I mean, you talk about a leadership void. When your quarterback is gone, you have a leadership void. When your quarterback is gone, you have a talent void. And I feel like this potential championship window that we thought the Cowboys had around when Dak was a rookie till now, it's closing, and it's closing in an ugly way, in part because they didn't pay Dak last year or pay Dak before this season started. Because now Dak, the one thing that we thought wasn't going to happen was he going to get injured, and somehow his value has gone up. The way these quarterbacks have played has made Dak even more and more valuable and given him more and more leverage, while the cap is also probably going down. So it's going to be hard to put together a viable product for the Cowboys going forward. So it goes back to what RC said. Jerry's realizing that Jerry messed up, and there's nothing they can do about it at this point.
Yep.
We will do much more football as this continues. Guys, stay with me. We'll be busy all day. And by the way, I have a poll question today, and we have a sponsor. My poll question is brought to you by ZipRecruiter. And the question very simply is this: which team most needs to make a deal before the deadline? The Bears, the Browns, the Eagles, the Patriots? You can go to my Twitter page at ESPN Greeny and cast your vote. That brings us to this. Clemson quarterback Trevor Lawrence got everybody talking yesterday as he left the door open verbally about his football future, despite previously saying he plans on heading to the NFL after this season. He is the presumptive number one pick in the draft. He says he hasn't ruled out coming back to Clemson. Listen.
We'll just have to see how things unfold. I think there's a lot of factors in that, but honestly, just really
playing this year, putting everything I have into it, not really focusing on next year, whether, I leave or stay or whatever. Obviously, I have the option to do either one. Kind of my mindset's been that I'm going to move on, but who knows? There's a lot of things that could happen no matter where I go, whether that's across the country, whether that's close to home, where I stay another year, no matter what it is, we'll work it out.
All right, now, just how good is he? Let me put these numbers up here, okay? Over his last 16 games, he's 15-1. He's thrown 45 touchdowns and 5 picks. In the NFL's history, those two you see on your screen, Brady that year and Rodgers that year, are the only ones to put up numbers that good over the course of a single season. Now, for the record, if you're watching the show a month ago, I told you this was going to happen. Dan Graziano, how seriously should one take this threat by Trevor Lawrence to go back to school?
Not very seriously. I think it would be shocking. And even he said there his mindset has been to move on. So he's working off of that. But when you talk to NFL people about Trevor Lawrence, the first thing you hear is how great he is.
To pull Blake Snell when he did. The analytics tell you it's the right move. Why wasn't it in your mind?
Well, I mean, the analytics are what got Tampa Bay to this point, and the numbers did show do not face this lineup a third time through. But Greeny, I mean, even live, not hindsight, in this moment, I was like, do not take him out of this game. Why? Because Mookie Betts at the top of this order, the way that these hitters were missing the ball, we're talking by this much against the fastball, the slider, the curveball, he had it all going. That's the feel component to this game that I love so much. And I love the numbers too, but you have to be able to trust your eyes and recognize greatness, and Blake Snell was that last night.
Now, Jeff, we see all the tweets that I put up there a few moments ago. The eye test certainly tells you, will there be people out there defending it today? Will people be telling us that Kevin Cash did the right thing last night?
The interesting thing about this, Greeny, is if you look at what the Tampa Bay Rays do, they do what was taught to them by Andrew Friedman, who happens to be running the Los Angeles Dodgers right now. Remember, he was the general manager for the Tampa Bay Rays before he went to the Dodgers, and all the ideas that they use in Tampa Bay, he brought along with him out to Los Angeles. Now, the difference, of course, is that he's got about 4 times the payroll that the Rays do. And, when you have players like Mookie Betts and like Corey Seager and like Max Muncy and like Clayton Kershaw and Walker Buehler and Justin Turner, and I can go on and on and on, it's a whole lot easier to play the typical sort of old-fashioned brand of baseball. But if you go and look at what Dave Roberts did, a day before, he went out there and took Clayton Kershaw off the mound after 5 2/3 innings in an inning in which he had gotten 2 outs on 2 pitches. He got booed on the way back in, but the fact is that was the right move at the right time. Clayton Kershaw has gotten hit up in later innings, and Kevin Cash was concerned the same thing was going to happen to Blake Snell. I think the difference is Snell had been utterly dominant at that point, and it's hard to take him out then.
Okay, and then that brings us to the other storyline, and I have a tweet from Justin Turner after this. Again, he was pulled from the game because he had tested positive. He went back on the field afterwards to celebrate with his teammates, take his mask off as he did so. He tweeted, "Thanks to everyone reaching out. I feel great, no symptoms at all, just experienced every emotion you can possibly imagine. Can't believe I couldn't be out there to celebrate with my guys. So proud of this team and unbelievably happy for the city of LA. Hashtag World Series champs." Jeff, I saw that you worked on a long piece with an explanation of how this happened. It was sent to me, but I haven't had a chance to read all of it. So for everyone who was, I'm sure, wondering, how did he wind up back on that field last night?
Greeny, it's actually very simple. He walked back out there, and nobody stopped him, and nobody was going to get in the way of him. And you listen to his Dodgers teammates. Mookie Betts said essentially there's no way that they were not going to have him out here with us. Justin Turner is the heartbeat of this Dodgers team. He's been around since 2014. He's been through the highs. He's been through the lows. And he has spent so much time working toward this moment. He was not going to be denied posing with the World Series trophy. And yet the optics of the whole thing, frankly, are terrible. And I think that everybody involved